for those of geez, how do I put this? I have emphasized this point, but certainly when I was prompted to start putting up videos, I talked about givens and qualifiers, because somewhere amongst a vast libraries of libraries of libraries as library builders, you know, when it comes to how much energy is represented by that, you can't spit all that out at once, right? The completion of one circuit, your head would explode. Okay. And so, because I've mentioned so much in my childhood what it was like to experience what others are experiencing, because I'm running at 100% capacity as a monad. Okay, so what it means, my cells are sensing what your cells are experiencing. That's what it is. That's called a map rate, right? And so what it means is that because of the mission that I'm performing, just like in a video I did on Robert Owen about the speed at which I move in order to get the work done that I'm supposed to do, which is transmutation, which is soul fragment integration, to pull everything back into the whole so that we all experience being one again, right? 144, 12 spheres, right? So I wrote this down because this is really how simple it is. I could have done this when I was 4 years of age and drew what I just drew on this sheet of paper. And here I am by their calendar, 72 years of age. I guess I was born in 51, 3, right? 11, 10. See, 0 degrees, equal distance. That little dot, right, in the center of that sphere, but it's a circle, right? So that means that when you get into a four-way hub, equal distribution. That means that the center point of fire in that cell, the entire cell is experiencing being loved. So we all know, like if you started a fire, if you went out and built a fire ring out of stone, right? Okay, well, depending on how you want to light that fire, whether it's through a lightning bolt or whether you're going to use a torch or a match or use the good old-fashioned way, rubbing sticks together, right? Create a spark. That spark, okay, generates what? A flash of light. But in order to sustain combustion, which is a four-way tetrahedron, so you go from 3 to 4, which is known as a time speed wave, which is the torque speed differential between the flash and then the ignition, to sustain a combustion, which is a gas, which is a noble gas. Now you're experiencing being in a noble state. Now your consciousness is a gas. So that the inside, that central point, is called the ignition point or flash point, because you get a flash and then you get the ignition, right? Now you got a fire going. Hey, that's called the point of origin. Ask any forest firefighter that does wildfire investigations to see if it was arson that caused. You know what they look at? Because I've done these fire investigations. We look at what we call burn patterns. We can actually determine the exact point of origin where it first started. And we can see whether or not somebody used an accelerant, or if you will, the method upon which it started. So you have the center point of that star. The first star is the eternal spirit of fire. You can't ever put that fire out. Sorry, but you cannot do that. That's the first breath of Amareya, Adama, Christosophia, the first spark, the first sound creation sphere. So that's how simple it is. It's called equidistance. Equidistance. From the center point of Kristalla code, first spirit Nomi code. So that I mean, you can do this with children, right? Before all the programming kicks in. And then they get lost in all the noise. That's what happens. They get lost in all the noise. Now they're not able to send out a clear signal. As a matter of fact, they're not able to receive a clear signal. And why is that? All the noise, which are all the distortions, which is all the black goo, all the red goo, right? Which are AI nets, which are noisemakers, machines. They're not running silent. The breath of eternal peace, the first eye of the first camera, of the first volcano, which is the first spiral, which is called golden fire, silver and gold mated one. experiencing golden fire. Remember, silence is golden. The golden rule. Do unto others. Do unto other cells as we would do unto our own cells. My cells are on fire. So the spirit in every one of my cells knows my spirit, which is the spirit of fire, which is on fire, which is pure, eternal, absolute love that's on fire. That's called a firewall, just like a cell wall. Like a cell wall, the inside of that cell is on fire. So every spirit at that center point is on fire, which means they're all equally on fire. That's a God world. Now we're on fire to create. That's right. Now we're on fire to create. Musicians. I saw RK Secret Truth. He had a beautiful shirt on. Said music is essential. I thought, okay, put oil on that. A lubricant. Grease the skids down the slope. Incline, decline, up and down. Just like in Idaho. What are they called, Mama? The Sawtooth Mountains. That's a beautiful place up there. If you ever get a chance, take a trip sometime when you got all the time in the world, either in the spring or the summer. Any time is great, but particularly during the summer. And start out, say, in, well, let's go up to, say, Clarkson. Where is it, Mama? Clarkson up there by the Oregon and Idaho border. Clarkson, I think it is. And then if you go down that highway, it'll take you into what's called the Frank Church Wilderness of No Return. Ooh, no return, huh? And go down the Frank Church Wilderness, the rapids down there, down to where you hit Boise. And then from Boise, take that road that goes up to, oh gosh, where is that? Well, you can go up to Salmon, Idaho. But if you go up to, from Boise, you can head on up through a wilderness area that comes down to, where is that, Mama? Where I can't, I've been all over that country. But if you go up from, say, Boise, Idaho, and then take that road that goes up through the forest there, and it winds through the Sawtooth Mountains. And it will eventually come out where I ended up one night with another guy in a place called, where is it, Mama? Sun Valley. I call it God's country, right? The mirror, our mirrors, right? Experiencing God in the mirror. Where is that in Genesis, the book? I think it's chapter 31. I've seen the face of God in my mirror. I think they call that pineal land. I think I'll call that pineal land. I know. And so when I go to the ocean, I call it getting cleaned up. I think I mentioned that in another video. You know, there's a really another great place to get cleaned up. You know what it means to get cleaned up? It means to get rid of all the goo. When I used to hang out with Lemurian Light, her and I used to have fun getting all the sticky stuff, getting all the resin off of us, get rid of all that goo. Burn it off, baby. Right? So, as I mentioned in many of my videos, I was going to what I call sanctuaries, which are spiritual sanctuaries, which are healing sanctuaries. Burn it off, right? So I'll share with you another great place if you want to burn stuff off and get cleaned up. Okay, and that's on the Siskiyou Klamath National Forest. I'm going to run out of time here, so I better get this in quick. It's a place called Lover's Camp, which is called Lover's Camp Campground. And it's out of off on the Salmon, Scott River and Salmon River Ranger District on the Klamath National Forest. And at there's a four-way hub right there in a place called Fort Jones. Take the highway that goes up from Fort Jones and then take that up into what's called the Marble Cone Wilderness. But stay in Lover's Camp. And there's a trailhead there that takes you to the Pacific Crest Trail up to the top of the Marble Mountains. That's about a 9.5 mile hike. I hiked that one morning. As you go about 2 or 3 miles in from where Lover's Camp is, oh man, is this thick. And it's like, wow, it reminds me of the Emerald Sophia Enchanted Forest. And you go, wow, let's hang out here for a while. Yeah. Right? You can get lost in there and never be found. You know that? But you'd be surprised what you'll feel when you go in there. The frequencies. Forests are filters. Breathing trees, the cells inside of a tree, breathing cells, sentient trees, they'll clean you up. Knowing where to go. That's called a gyrodome. That's called a magnetic compass. I'm always at 0 degrees. So we know where to go to get cleaned up, don't we? Yeah. How do we do that? It's called sensing cells, sensing the cells in trees. That's what it's like to run a Crystal Sophia avatar. Go see the movie Avatar. You'll see how it works. Have a beautiful day. We love you all.